Welcome to the show, man. With you today, uh, Jonathan. I was about to say R.I.P. Jonathan, but he's not dead.
God dog.
Hey, it's his anniversary today, so Jonathan won't be with us. So, Jonathan, if you're watching, happy anniversary. Don't go making the fourth kid tonight, man. Hey. But hey, we got a show for you today, man. We're talking about being black in corporate America there. So stay with us right now. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Hey, the 3200, you know how we connect. 3200 Magnolia was the address. Beaumont, Texas, had to do it like that. Wanna welcome everybody to the podcast. Plenty stories that we gotta explore. From the views of husbands, fathers, entrepreneurs, baby fathers and workers. I know this though for certain. You gon' laugh, have a good time till your side hurting. 3200, but you already know this. You know it. Couple of brothers hard working and focused. Intellectual, entertaining for show. 32 double O, let's go. 3200, but you already know this. Couple of brothers hard working and focused. Intellectual, entertaining for show. 32 double O, let's go. Hey, yeah, make sure that you turn it up. Get the talking, ain't no topic that we do not discuss. Yeah, everything and nothing at the same time. Good vibes, tune in, cause you know it's going down. 3200.
That boy said he gonna make a baby tonight.
Sugar.
Get your white socks on, boy.
Welcome to the 3200, man. The show is for brothers, man, giving you different perspective from where we, even though we were born and raised in the same house, we all got different views on how the world is, man. So welcome to the show. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe and share this, either if you're on YouTube or on Facebook. Let's share it with friends, man. Let's get our views up. Let's get our views up, man. Hot topic today. Oh, Leo, how you doing, man?
I'm making it. I'm making it in this crazy world, man.
Oh, what about you, KD? How y'all doing?
Man, we good. This topic is personnel.
How y'all had a good Father's Day?
I did, man.
Yeah, actually,
Y'all got everything y'all wanted.
I gotta add something to that. One thing I noticed was that most fathers, we want the same thing. So this is something that the ladies can listen to. Most fathers on Father's Day just want to be left alone. That's what I found out. Like most of the dudes I knew, they was like, "Nah, man, I just want to rest. I just want to."
What you want to eat? Whatever peace look like. You want something to drink? Yeah, I want some peace.
It was very funny. I think Jonathan mentioned it to me, and then I saw Kev on stage mention the same thing. Was because Juneteenth was Father's Day, and he said both of them was approached by white people that it was like Happy Juneteenth, and they didn't know how to answer. That was
Jonathan did tell me about that.
Yeah, and it was like he didn't know how to really answer. And Kev on stage said the same thing. It was like it was weird. It was very weird because you don't know how to answer back. Like,
don't we say Happy Cinco de Mayo, Happy St. Patrick's Day? Don't we do that too?
Yeah, but we didn't oppress Mexico.
That was Mexico freedom from Spain. You know what I mean? Maybe the Spaniards feel weird between them behind. You know
That's
what I mean?
They speaking their language though. So
type of thing. Happy
Well,
Day, that ain't got nothing to do with. It seemed like it had more to do with drinking.
Margaritas and tacos.
I don't even know if St. Patrick was a real person.
No.
He was.
Right.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was. He saved Ireland.
He was violent. What?
No, he saved Ireland.
I ain't from Ireland.
Hey man, I also got 6% Irish in them.
I don't know that.
That's what the ancestry says. All right. So, hot topic today, man. We're talking about being black in corporate America, man, and it is a hot topic. This is I think this is one of the things that always could get revisited year after year because I don't think corporate America changes much. In my opinion, we'll talk about it here. Um, I think all of us went to the military first. That's one thing about our family. Everybody's in the military. So I would say military, and correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, but I think the military was probably our first face to face with kind of like a corporate or professional setting. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the military, man. And do you think that I know they've changed some laws, right? I think the Air Force changed the UCMJ a little bit, or I don't know if that was across the board.
Hmm.
But how was your experiences being black and in the military?
So I'm gonna give just the Navy point of view. Um, for me, the Navy was really diverse. We had while I was in, and this was in the early '90s. While I was in the Navy, man, I got to go, and that's one thing we just talking about. I got to go to over 25 countries and just hang out with a lot of different people. Um, and one thing I did learn, like overseas, man, like black guys were like a hot commodity. And I don't know where that came from, but neither here nor there. For me, while I was in the Navy, the only thing that I did see is I never met any high-ranking black officials. I met a lot of um, like high-ranking enlisted black men, black women, but I didn't meet a lot of officer, uh, people that were black. Maybe they were like in the CWO program, chief warrant officers, things like that, or um, lieutenant commanders. But I didn't see any one star or captain that were black, and that didn't dawn on me until like after I got out.
I'd have to agree. Um, truthfully, because I was Air Force. Truthfully, and y'all both know I went on a lot of deployments. I'd say when I would see like you said for the Navy KD, I saw the same thing. Because I most of the places I deployed to it was all joint forces. So like you said, the Navy, I have to agree. It was exactly like that. The Air Force was like that too. It started shaping a little more later on, but in the 90s time frame, I have to agree with you. I can't say I saw a black general. But I did see some officers to a certain level, but it seemed like they I don't know and I don't know if they was given that chance to, to go to the next level and that type of thing. And the Air Force is kind of different. They're changing now, but they was kind of different to whereas you pretty much had to be a pilot to get to certain things like general like comm officers could only make it maybe to like 1 star, maybe 2 star, but they wasn't going anything higher than that. So it may have been a job thing in between to what you call it to deal with that. But I have to agree you didn't have as many for the Air Force. You had some, but it wasn't as many in those positions. But on the enlisted side, like you said, yeah, we had E9s, which was chiefs that was black, and stuff like that. And you had individuals like that on the enlisted side, but the officer side, it was kind of wonky like that. But it got better as I progressed in like the 2000s and stuff like that. How about
I,
you?
I wouldn't say like I would say we had the diversity, right? You had people from all over America, and they did real good. I think the military does real good of bringing a bunch of strangers together from to have different values and different cultures together
Agreed.
and making them work together and figure life out. You have to depend on each other. You learn that very quickly. You know what I mean? You can't be closed off for each other. So the diversity and stuff was there. My only issue or the only thing that I found was the UCMJ. That was the part that was outdated and outdated for a long time, even from like you know hairstyles, which they're just addressing the hairstyles with the women. I think they hadn't really touched much of the males, but if you read the UCMJ, it's like, okay, how I'm supposed to wear my hair? Like, we don't wear our hair like that. You got to be off the ear and all of that stuff's like,
Mhm.
what are you talking about? That's not culturally, that's not us, you
Well,
know.
just to explain to our our listeners, the UCMJ is the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So it's basically a code of conduct, how we are to conduct ourselves in the military. And there's a lot to the UCMJ, and you won't know that for me, there's some things that I didn't even know I did wrong until somebody told me, hey, you can't do that.
Well,
Pretty
and also to add,
15 and you're going to jail for life.
yeah, also to add to that, for those who don't know, there are articles that go with the UCMJ that they'll hit you with. These are these laws and stuff like that. But there's one article I can't remember if it was like Article 13 or something like that. One article is pretty much like you can hit somebody on anything. It's pretty much a blanket article to where
Yes.
whatever they want to put in there, they can put in there and hit you. You got an Article 13 for what? Crossing the road the wrong way.
Yep.
You moonwalked and you messed up on one of the legs.
And basically, Article 13 was like a code of ethics um, and morals, right? So there's a lot of information that's embedded in it. But it's like if you look at the job description and it says all 26 or whatever the job description is, and then that last line is, and also the duties hereby governed and given based on the diligence of your leader. So if your leader tell you to do something, you got to do it. And so Article 13, like,
order,
yeah,
and
So pretty much this code of conduct and the UCMJ, they were written probably about what 40s, 50s, and never really updated.
yeah, they
So
don't really update them.
yeah, they don't really update any of it. It's like the like the amendments, it's like it's nothing, you know what I mean? So pretty much like all of it was written by white men. And if we're being honest, all of it's written by white men, and white men's they wrote it according to things they see and stuff. So even like basically having to shave every day, our skin is not built to be shaven every day, but they wanted us. That was like one of the things they were trying to make us do. It's like I didn't even have a beard or a mustache, and you got to shave. Like, nah, I ain't about to get all these razor bumps for no reason. But
boy, walking around looking like a Nestle Crunch.
even with the hair, like I was trying to figure out, like they wanted the black woman to wear buns. It's like, well, a lot of black women hair ain't long enough to wear buns. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
it's like the hairstyles and certain makeup and just some of the rules in it was so outdated and culturally insensitive. And I think it had a black woman actually had to get into position where she could kind of change those rules, or somebody who was like, hey, this is not right or whatever. I think they're trying to fix it now. But I mean, it took decades, right?
yeah. I mean, I went my whole military career before they changed some of the like you said, the women hairstyle. Now they can actually wear the hair down. But yeah, while I was in, it was back.
Back with the bun.
Yeah, back with the bun. That's
Yeah.
all you could do. But it really didn't make too much sense.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Go ahead.
It really didn't make too much sense. And like you said, it was like those were old rules.
Like,
So the UCMJ began or was created May 31st, 1951. Historical fact.
Yeah, and no changes until like 2021.
Yeah, pretty much.
She
So,
say when my hair was too short, it was called
I'm laughing with you. I'm not laughing at
oh, man.
you.
I see LOL, so I can laugh.
All right. And then just going on to diversity. Let's talk about diversity in the corporate America right now, diversity in companies now. Uh, I think we all work for corporate companies. In some way or form, we all been in the corporate offices of so there is experience. Um, let's talk a little bit about code switching. Do you see a lot of code switching? Do you code switch? Are you seeing a lot of code switching
So
out there?
I do. I think it's an alternative that Black people have that other cultures may not have the advantage of. Some people look at it like, why you talk or well, let me just give my experiences. Just recently, I was told I need to dumb down my language. I need to stop being so technical, and that's just who I am. I am a person that I'm a logophile. I love words. I love looking up words. I love using big words. I love using. I mean, I have a wide range of vernacular, and
How
so
you spell that logo file? I'm trying to look that one up as we speak.
oh,
What is the logo?
LOGOPHILE logophile. I'm telling you, like I really love words, and so if anybody know me, and y'all my brothers, y'all already know. In a certain setting, if I'm in the hood, I'm not gonna use certain words in the hood. I'm not gonna say the word vernacular on Magnolia. But if I'm in the boardroom, I'm gonna use the terms that I'm assuming that my counterparts or lateral professionals are using. And just this week, I was told that I need to dumb down my speech. And the sad part is that I was told this by a Black woman.
Man, why you gotta be so smart? We know you got degrees. We know
Right.
we know you graduate from high school. Why you gotta be so smart?
Right.
I have to say, I think for our generation, it's been embedded in us because we had to at that time. I'm noticing with the younger generation, like my youngest son and his generation, they not about that life. You taking me as I am, and I noticed that. So I don't think they have to. They pushing it. That's one of the envelopes that they're pushing. It's like take us as we are, the hairstyles, the whatever else and stuff like that, because they like that doesn't have anything to do with my performance and what I'm going to do. But yes, my generation, yes, and you know, I've never had nobody tell me anything like that. Um, so but I understand exactly what you're saying. Like and then let's be real about it, man. If I would have used the word like vernacular, I would have got beat up on Magnolia. Let's just, so, I don't know what that word mean, but it sounds like you trying to get whooping up in it. So it's a different thing, and you're not gonna do that. But sometimes I'm with you, KD, because um being black, walking into those areas where it's not too many of us in that area when we walk in, a lot of times they expect us to be hood when we come in. You know what I mean? And hood tactics and stuff like that. And so it's like, okay, I don't have to be hood. I don't have to be hood. I can show you that I am professional in the things that I do. But
But
it's
on top of that, look at what our culture has enamored. Like, look at what we have done to the entire world. Like, if you go over to Asia, there are individuals that are trying to make their hair kinky and, do certain things because our culture has just done so much. And we're like one of the most major influences in the world.
Yeah, we're a major influence, but a lot of times we have been that influence and that money off of that has been taken from us.
Yes.
Like the thing that I can't remember if it was you, Ike, or Jonathan sent to us about the guy who made the characters for good times, the Jeffersons, what's happening, and he didn't get none of that money. He pretty much got blacklisted out of Hollywood, but this is the guy who created this. You telling me, and that's why I believe the story so much because the black man is saying it, and the white guys who out there that monetized and made money off of it, they have no comment. But I'm like, if you really think about it, you telling me white Jewish guys created these black shows and had this and wrote, they trying to say like they wrote for these black shows the black experience. You can't that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I think I don't think it should be necessarily for you to code switch. Now, I think there's a difference between code switching and using slang. Like you can't just go into a job talking slang just for communication. I can't go in there talking slang to somebody who doesn't understand the slang. You know what I mean? Just for communication purposes. I can't, walk in there and do that. But I think you should authentically be yourself at your job, and people will accept you for who you are. Uh, but it's a funny thing because I think people sometimes think I'm code switch.
Yeah,
It's
you're
like,
not capable.
yeah. I'm like, this is just like, hey, this is just how I talk. Hey, if I
But
talk around my friends, I talk a little bit more relaxed, but it's the same tone, or I don't have the stereotypical deep dark. I ain't, what I mean. Yeah, what I mean. And I don't talk usually. If I'm talking to y'all, I don't use a lot of slang. I might use a couple cuss words, but I ain't using a lot of slang. So I think there's a difference between that, but um, I think just being yourself and who you are. I think our mom did a great job on showing us diversity while we were young. I mean, she was part of the parents who forced diversity into schools because here in Beaumont, uh, the school still was somewhat segregated up until about the 90s because they had the neighborhood schools. And of course, all the whites lived on one side of town, the blacks lived on one side of town. So the schools reflected the neighborhood, which was, you know, they said it wasn't segregated, but it still was segregated. But our mom was part of making us go to schools across town, which pushed us into a more diverse setting, and we saw diversity early in life.
can
And
I
which
just
helped us.
pause? Can
Go
I
ahead.
just pause you real quick? So I don't think the schools were segregated. I think we lived in a gentrification era. And because we were living in gentrification, the schools that we attended were of our peers. And so then when they allowed the school zone to widen and broaden because they understood that the athletes were coming from areas that were gentrified, then they wanted us to go to the schools. And we took advantage of that because we got to, and we, began to take part in some of the higher education, the newer books, some of the newer information, newer technology from the schools that we went to. So I think gentrification was a strong part of when we were growing up, like Martin Elementary, Lincoln High School, those schools. And because we were gentrified, we went to schools. I don't think it was segregated because there were still some white kids in the school. I just think
Yeah.
the area we grew up was gentrified.
I don't know the term you would use, but I can tell the difference between when I went to Callwood and when I went to Martin. And I can tell you, Martin didn't have half the stuff that Callwood had when I was attending Callwood. The schools it wasn't a fair system, whatever you want to call it. Typically, the white schools on the other side of town had better equipment, better computers, more access than the schools on the other side of town. And this was up until like the 90s, probably 90, 90 94, 95 is when you really start to kind of see a little bit of change. And then now it's totally out of water. But um, my point is it's just, people come from different places. So sometimes it might sound like code switching. Like say my kids were born and raised in Utah
So
and Oklahoma and stuff.
give
So
us your definition of code switching.
code switching is when around black people, you talk and act black, and then when you get around white folks, you talk and act white.
Okay.
In the stereotypical
So
form.
what's
I
give me
missed
the
that one.
definition? Because give me the definition of black talk, white talk.
Well, I'm saying stereotypical white talk. So it's just like a shoot. I ain't Bobby. You know what she used to do when she answered the phone? Hello. You know what I mean?
So a person talk proper.
Yeah, yeah. They're talking. What
They
others?
articulate.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because I'm gonna go deeper with it once, you know.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go because we have a difference in opinion. So,
For me, I don't think. I think you should be. I think the company should be culturally sensitive enough to accept you however you are. Me personally, and I think that's why we need the diversity within the HR departments, within the hiring managers. It should be more diverse because I can sit down and talk to somebody and understand exactly what they're saying without using slang, but just understand where they're coming from, without them having to change up who they are. Like, yes, sir. You know, I don't need all that. Hey, they feel a little bit more comfortable talking to me, and I can understand that a little bit better. But go ahead. What you got? Go deep.
so for me, what I do is I recognize my surroundings and I make whoever I'm talking to comfortable. If I'm in the boardroom, I've been as low as a technician, and I've been as high as an executive for some very large companies. And so at every level, I'm still going to articulate. That's just who I am. But I recognize the audience that I'm talking to also. So if I'm training, if I'm teaching, if it's people from the floor, I'm not just going to be using big terms. But then I've had executives in the room and I use those terms and they didn't understand them. And the sad thing is that I was under the impression not to try to impress them because it ain't about them. It's about who I am and I represent me to the fullest. And I'm going to give you the best version of me, but I'm going to recognize where you are and I'm not going to try to belittle who you are by using the terms that I use. And so most times, um, the individuals that were over me were there because of nepotism. They had somebody that was high up that hired them in because they were a cousin, uncle, brother, sister, whatever it was. And so they would say, "Hey, man, you got to dumb down your. I can't tell you how many times somebody told me I got to dumb down my language." And I'm like, "This is who I am. This is what I do. I articulate. I enunciate. I use these terms on a regular basis." But I'm not going to do that to people on the floor because I recognize where they're at. Now there are some people on the floor that be like, "Nah, man, just it's cool." Now if they ask me the term, I'm not going to close the gap by bringing myself down. I'm going to use the term and I'm going to allow them to. I'm going to define the term to them so they can, be able to close the gap by bringing up their vernacular. So that's just who I am. And when
So
individuals are, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, well, what about the reverse? Because it's not just code switching. Like I'm saying, black to white, but it's not just black people code switching. Like
No,
other
no,
races are code switching also. Like so. So what about the reverse? So if a white guy come up to you and he's like, "Yo, what's up, my homie? Yo, what's up?" And
I
then he switches
recognize.
over.
And it happens.
Yeah.
A lot of times, it'll be somebody across the table that'll try to use slang with me, and I just look at them and I try to wait for them to be who they are. So I can't make somebody else be the best version of themselves or be their true self. I can't control that, but I do make sure that they recognize the tolerance of bull that I have, right? So if they try to keep being something that they not and they, yo, man, what's up, man? Look, man, 5-0 coming through and all this other stuff. Like I know what they talking about, but first of all, let's recognize our setting. And I had this conversation with a guy recently, a white male, and I was just like, let's recognize our setting. Like even though I know what you're saying. Let's recognize we're in the boardroom. And I had to pull him aside after the meeting, and I was like, recognize you're in the boardroom and just be professional because we got other people on these calls, and you just can't just recognize your atmosphere, your environment, recognize where you're at. And so he's like, my bad. And that's who he is. And so it was in the inverse for both of us. That's a
So
good question.
yeah, faith, love. I was just about to get into that because that's part of the what we see as far as. And I was going to ask Ken Derrick too, because Ken Derrick, I walked into one of your jobs and they're like, "Are you Ken's brother?" I was like, "Who?" Ken. I was like, who is Ken? So
Yeah.
Ah,
I was like, who is Ken? I know Ken Derrick. I know KD.
Yeah. Yeah.
from the block.
So when I first started putting my resume out there, Ken Derrick was on my resume. And I did a test on myself. I put Ken Simeon and I put Ken Derrick Simeon. And I sent the same resume. And Ken Simeon's resume was seen at least twice as much as Ken Derrick Simeon. So when I began to use LinkedIn and Indeed and all these other things, now I can put my name on there. But back then in the mid '90s, it was a different breed of individuals that were interviewing us. They didn't look like us, and still to this day, if you look at the executives in large companies, they still don't look like us. If you look at the company you work for now, look at how many black executives are there.
Yeah. I can get into that real bad there. But do you think that's changed? Because I still see like I see like a Tom Anisha's. Like we went to school together. Your name was Tom Anisha. Now your name is Kim.
Yeah.
Like do you think that has changed now, or is it still that discrimination against your name? Even and it's not just black folks. I see uh
Hispanics.
I see the Asian culture, like they'll change their whole name. And one guy introduced me like, "Yeah, my name is Tim." I was like, "No, brother, your name ain't Tim. Well, what's your, like, hey, I lived in Japan. I want to respect you and call you, what your parents call you. Now, don't give me this American name or whatever. Like, give me your real name." But you see it in different cultures where they try to put it to fit in. Uh, like, is it necessarily? Should we still be at that stage in 2021 where you gotta? I mean,
Go ahead, Leo. Go ahead, Leo.
go switch pretty much your name.
I don't think we have to now in this age. And it's easier to push the envelope not to in this age. But the one thing that we do have to do, and I know our culture is doing it, but other cultures have to do the same thing. Let them know, like Ike said, let them know this is your name. I noticed the black culture, we get into it when we done seen plenty of times and plenty of things, jokes that comedians made or whatever. It's like they mess up your name or they call you something else and that's not your name. They call you the other black person that work in the office name and stuff like that. We do these things and we let them know what's going on. But some of the other cultures I feel like aren't doing that yet. But you need to. You need to. It's it's 2022. There's no reason why I should be calling an Asian guy that work with us Tim when his real name is something else or whatever. I can't think of a Asian name right now. Only thing like I can think of is like anime Akira. If his real name is Akira, then why are we calling him Tim? You know, we are past his face. It needs to be pushed on as far as all levels. But that's another subject maybe later on. It seems
Yeah.
like our culture is the culture that's the one that push, but everybody else profits from that. Or not profits, but they gain from our push.
Benefit. Yeah, they gain the benefit.
Yes.
But like even to get into the door, like when do you tell them like, okay, hey, this is my real name? Like to get in the door, like Ken said, he had to change his name at the application. He couldn't even be called his name on the application or during the job interview.
Man,
It's
that
like
was 90s flow.
Yeah,
that's
that was from the
That
90s.
was 90s flow.
that's nice.
2022 flow, you can do that. You can
Yeah.
put Derek on there.
Yeah.
You think it's
And you'll have
changed?
the same
There-
look.
Say again, Nike.
I say, you think there's been a change, or
I don't think it's where it should be, but I think there's definitely been a change. It's evolved from when I was first getting into the job force. In the military, everybody called me KD or Simeon, our last name.
Yeah, this last name for military most of the time. So
And that's honestly how I differentiate us. I know some people, like because one company I worked for them for like forever, and they called me Ken because I've been working for them forever. And what's crazy is that if somebody called me KD up here, I'd be like, "Hold up, man, where you from? What's you from? You from that 3-2? Oh man, what's up?" So it's a whole different vibe, man. So yeah, it's evolved. Just to answer your question, it's evolved. I don't think it's where it is.
where it
Yeah.
should be, yeah, but it's coming along.
But it also, so while we're on names, we also have to be cognitive of what are we naming our kids? Because like I know a kid named Polo, um, and nothing against the child's name. I just don't think we invest in naming our children for success, and that don't mean that naming a child Polo is going to be unsuccessful. But what was the like? Were y'all wearing polo that night before y'all? I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, I
You
like
want to hit it
Mercedes.
first, Ike, or you want me to hit it?
Oh, you go ahead. I'm not touching that one.
And
All the polos. If you want to send an angry email to KD to the 3200 men.
I kind of get what my brother trying to say. Me, Candida. You gotta put that one. I put that up there. Ike, what Faith Love said. Knew a girl named Candida.
And some names are
That's
cute.
like Angita. That's
But-
like a
but
feminine thing.
I'm
But does
gonna just say what I did with my sons, because my sons, I think I said it before, but my sons is Jalen and Jaleel. And they had a lady one time, we was at a church, she was like, you name your sons Muslim names, you know what I mean? And it was like, I named my sons names that have meaning. Jalen means warrior, and Jaleel means king. So when I look at that, I'm instilling into them, I named you because I want you to have that type of say. I want you to be that type of person. Like my name, even though I'm named after my daddy, and his daddy probably wasn't thinking that way, but I look at Leo as king. This is how I'm supposed to act. This is who I am. When I'm down to my lowest, I can look at my name and be like, my name says what character I have or what way I want to be. So when I name
Preach.
my children, that's the way I did it. So I understand what you're saying. If you're going to give these kids these names, give them a name with a meaning. That way too, you can tell them, when they get older or whatever, it's like you can tell them, hey, I called you Hope because at the time when you was born, our family had no hope. So you was there to be that light, and stuff like that. And that gives the kid, that can help a kid through situations.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I agree. I would say too, letting the kids know what you make the name. You know what I mean? How to build your name up, whatever your name may be, building it up to something respectful. Heck, 40 years ago, Beyonce probably sounded like a crazy name, but she built her name up to something respectful. Even Shaquille, that probably sounded like a crazy name, but he built that name up, and now people naming their kids after it. So it's even if if your parents mess up, still hold on to whatever your parents gave, because this is a gift. That's your first gift that your parents give you is your name. So whatever it is, I think you should cherish it, respect it, and build off that name, not run away from the name so much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And my name is Ken Derrick means it's a powerful name. I looked it up once and I forgot what it was. It's somewhere around here what it means. Didn't y'all give me a plaque or something with my name on it? It said Leo did.
I gave you a plaque with your name on it.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Well, Isaac did, and
I thought you
Japanese.
was named after. I thought my mama named you after two of like.
Well, yeah, one named Ken and one named Derrick, and I think one named Royal.
That still is. You were named after people that were positive influences into her life, and she mixed that together. Your name still had meaning.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like it helps when a kid's name has meaning, and especially if they know that person. It's like if you name them after your grandfather or something, or your grandmother or something. It's like, this was a positive, powerful person in my life, or that I named you after.
So, Leo, you said one thing there that I want to get on to, because that happens a lot at work. Well, not where I'm working at right now, but it used to happen when I lived up north. Is the confusion between the names there, the black folks, they call you the other black folks names. I just want to know, what's your response there when your coworkers, your white coworkers, call you the other black guy? What's y'all response? I know what mine is. What's y'all's response?
Oh, I don't respond. My name, I'm territorial about my name. So you gonna get my name right. You gonna get it right, or you ain't going to get my name, or you ain't going to call me at all. So if it takes you all night, if it takes you a week, a month, you gonna get my name right. You gonna get me right. So my name has always been, and it's not too many people with our last name. So every time, especially in the military, it's people from different areas and they ain't got that French in them. So, they couldn't pronounce that last, but every time they said that last name, I corrected. I don't care what your rank was, I corrected.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a thing. To me, it's like when you get my name mixed up, it's just like calling me boy. Because you ain't even trying. You ain't even trying.
No.
Leo, that ain't hard. And they'll do it. Leroy. It's Leo. 3 letters. It's short for Leo. Because I didn't have ones that's like, is that short for? It's short for Leo. I get serious about my name. It's a serious thing. Go ahead, Katie.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, right now, y'all two are actually inspiring me to correct people so they can start calling me Kenderick or calling me K. I mean, KD was, Kenderick for short, but not just Ken, not just ending it in Ken. And so Monday, when I get to work to my new director's position, I'm going to correct people, and not in a way that it'll rub them wrong, but in a way that'd be like
Yeah.
let's start off on this note. So I appreciate that from y'all.
No problem. So have you ever been called the other black guy at work?
I was the only black guy at work. I mean, I'll be honest with you. So
That happens too.
every company I've worked for, I've always been promoted. And what's crazy is that I remember I was sitting next to the CEO in a boardroom meeting, and when my deck came up, when my part of the presentation came up, he saw everything up there, but he never met me. Only thing he ever saw, everything he ever done was heard me over the phone. And so he's sitting right next to me. It was, he's like 6'7" or something. He was looking around. He was like, "Hey, where's Ken? Where's Ken? Who?" And so the plant manager said, "He's right there," and pointed to me. And so he looked down, and I broke the stereotype because he thought I was like, based on phone calls, I was some white guy that spoke, but I was always the black guy in the boardroom. So they didn't get my name mixed up with anybody else.
Faith, we gonna fight.
Did they call you
Faith, we gonna fight.
did they call you Faison Black?
Nah. They always what I got more offended like if me and the other black guy didn't even look alike. We wasn't even like they'll call me like the light-skinned black dude, the other light-skinned black dude. I was like, we don't even look alike. Like, what are you talking about? But my response I always tried to make them feel as little as possible whenever they did. I'm like, oh, I straight up tell them, like, oh no, that's the other black guy. Which one do you want, me or him? I tell them straight up just to make them feel small. But that was always my response. I always thought it was stupid. Even like people after a while, like, okay, you should know us by now. Your supervisors, like, okay, is our supervisors, like, you're supervising only 8 other supervisors. On the phone, even on the phone, they'll be getting us mixed up. It's like he's like looking on the phone again. Like,
what
no.
ethnicity was it mostly doing that?
It was all the black. He always mixed up. I mean, they always mix the black folks up.
No, I mean, like, who was mixing you up?
Oh, it was a white guy always.
You think he was doing it purposely?
Nah. They just don't know.
I saw. I forgot what show I was watching. Where a sister, the guy kept calling the wrong name in the board meeting, so she started calling him by the wrong name, just a made up name, and she just kept. She was like, "Well, Jim was supposed to," and he like look around like, my name is Mike. And she's like, well, Jim. And she just kept calling him that. It was so funny to me. But that's how I don't know. Sometimes it feels like that's how you gotta be, and it this touches on another subject. It's like that's why people be like sometimes they be like, oh, black people are so angry. But it's not like I'm trying to be angry, but it's like you're not listening and you're not getting what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a level of respect too. It's a level of
So
respect by calling me by my name.
let me ask y'all this question, since we're on the subject of correcting people and then black men looked as angry. Um, do you ever feel like you're put in a posture that you can't express your passion or your zeal about something because somebody may look at you as the angry black man?
Uh, I would say to some point. Well, it's hard for me because I'm not. Y'all know my composure. I'm rarely angry. Usually I'm laughing stuff off all the time. Uh, but I do feel even when I was supervising. I mean, I feel the try not to be the stereotype was my whole thing. You know what I mean? So I made sure I was there extra early. I made sure whatever. Even being a supervisor, when I was a supervisor up north, like it was very little black people. The black people thought like, oh man, we got a black supervisor. He gonna make us. We gonna be able to do that. Like, nah, I'm treating everybody the same. And I think I had to versus my counterpoints. I probably had to make sure I went overboard treating everybody the same because because we always complained about them not treating us the same. You know what I mean? So I did not want to become, sometimes you get in a position and you end up turning into the enemy or you end up turning into the thing you hate. I didn't want to turn into that. So I made a point in treating everybody fairly and treating everybody with respect and dignity. Um, but I did want to make sure that I didn't do any of the stereotypical things or try to defy the stereotypical because it wasn't, you got that as black people, man, we got that on our shoulders. Like, I'm not just representing Isaac. I'm not just representing the Mouton family. I'm representing the whole culture. So uh, being up north where there weren't a lot of blacks there, I felt the need to like, okay, I'm going to change the minds of all these folks on what black people look like. I had all of that over
Yeah, you end up having to, and I understand exactly what you're saying. You end up having to be the Obamas. You really can't relax. You can't. You can you can be part of yourself, but that thing is always in your head. Like I'm representing this, so I have to break those stereotypes. And like we all know, being in the military too is very diverse. So people see black people as this. Oh, y'all some pimps. Y'all, some, a thug, y'all, and all this other stuff like that. So you have to break those things for those people. It's like, well, I thought, all y'all was no, you just watch Yo MTV raps, nobody like, you know what I mean? It's this entertainment, people,
I tell you something else I had to do is like we'll have these corporate meetings once a year, and I go to the meetings, and this is where everybody goes and meet. This was nationwide company. Uh, so when first got hired, it was only like three of black supervisors there, and then over the years, they came. I think we got up to about 12 before I left that position. Uh, but this is what we would do. We would we have the breaks and you have your meals and you have the mixers. So around the mixers, it'll be the group of black people together and we'll be talking, we talking sports, we talking whatever. And you look around the room and there's groups of white people everywhere. But it never failed about 4 to 5 different higher management people come up to us hey, y'all need to kind of break it up, diversify yourselves, mix in with everybody else. I'm like, okay, there's 12 other white groups. Are you telling them they need to come and be with us? So why are you just coming to this one black group and telling us we have to mix in and not telling them they have to mix in with us? So I think that's one of my questions, like maneuverability around corporate. Like I hated it because I felt like I couldn't be myself. And what I mean is, for me, watching the people get promoted and watching people get the positions and stuff that I desired, even though I worked harder than some of them, and even though I was a better supervisor than some of them, I sometimes felt like I got overlooked because of the politics. Because okay, I don't play, but you're gonna promote your golf buddy, or hey, I don't smoke cigarettes, so I'm not hanging out. Like that was a military thing. Like I didn't smoke cigarettes and hang out with all the supervisors who smoked cigarettes. So when it came time for promotion, everybody who was outside smoking cigarettes got promoted because they didn't know me. I was just I was the type of person, hey, I was quiet and I wanted to just stick and do my job and let my work be the talking. But I didn't understand that in corporate America, your job performance means absolutely nothing. It's all about who you know.
So yeah, so
Talk about
job,
the maneuverability in corporate America for Black people.
it's true. I wanted to comment on the comment as a black woman. I feel like it's hard not to get lumped into the angry or aggressive black woman stereotypes. Um, in a lot of retrospect, that is like maybe I want to say 90% true. Um, the sad part is that the 10% of women out there that are black women that are in higher positions, they will put their thumb. And I spoke to a lot of people that are in human resources. I dealt with just recently, and Isaac know my qualms. I reported to a black woman, and she like put her thumb on me, and the way she treated me and the way she treated others was totally 100% opposite. And so I dealt with that so much, being black in corporate America. When is it that we can see that, hey, if a person is professional and you're professional, we could make this happen? Because I did not see a lot of me in executive roles. And I already had 3 promotions in the last 18 months. So why is it that, we're not in competition? We were lateral managers. Um, but she just kept her thumb on me, and it was really, really difficult. And to answer the question that I asked earlier about just being passionate, I'm a person that if you know me, I'm passionate about safety. I want people to go home. That particular role, I've made some calls, and I don't even want to get choked up, but I have made some calls to some families, letting some people know that that person wasn't going to return home. And that's a really, really difficult call to make. Isaac, you've made those calls. It's not a call that you want to make. And so those experiences go with you through life. And when I'm on the floor, when I'm in the production unit or anything like that, I talk to people as if I really want them to go home. And so my passion comes out. And a lot of times, because I'm passionate and I'm talking to people, somebody on the outside looking in will be like, man, why is he like that? Like, I be even asked that, like, do you really talk like that, or why are you like that? Like, I feel like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. Like, I'm on an island by myself a lot of times in corporate America because they don't understand that black men at a table of dominoes, that's how we talk to each other. We loud, we boisterous. And my cousin Charlie brought it up one time. He said a lot of cops don't know when they roll up on the scene like that, they think people are angry. That's just how we celebrate. And so we have the ability, going back to code switching, we have the ability that we can go and be, on both sides of the courtroom. We can be the defendant and the plaintiff. We can be the judge. We know how to adapt to the situation. We can be in the boardroom. We can be the one presenting, or we can be the one, giving the technology. Um, but for a long time, and I would say up until recently, and you guys helping me, I was not the political black guy. I was the passionate black guy. And I had to deal a lot of times with trying to be accepted. And Ken was the guy that was being accepted, but they're gonna meet Kendera come Monday morning. So
That's the one thing. That's the one thing I learned. Like, because corporate would tell you need to act a certain way, be a certain way, especially if you're in the supervisor position. They'll tell you need to talk to your people a certain way and do that, do that. But I found like the more I was myself, the more I treated people on the values that was taught on at the 3200. You know what I mean? The more I did it, the more the people accepted me, the more people worked harder for me, the more people, you know what I mean? It was more acceptable for the people that worked for me. The people above me, once they seen the results that the people below me were giving, they were okay with it. But before they seen the result, oh, you need to be this kind of way. You need to talk. You do, you know, like no, that I don't feel comfortable doing it that way. Let me do it my way, and it's authentic to what people believe.
yeah, but you stubborn.
Go ahead.
You stubborn though.
I am stubborn. I am stubborn, and it gets
You real militant. Well, no, Leo's militant. You're stubborn.
I am, but it's I could go to work every day knowing that you know what I mean, that I was myself. You know, I was comfortable at work. I could joke around and you know what I mean. When I worked at this other place here in that corporate setting, and I was doing bill collecting, and they're telling you gotta, they tell you gotta cuss the people out damn near to get the money, and, and I wasn't, you know what I mean. I never felt comfortable doing that. I hated going to work every day. You know what I mean? I hated going to work. But when I did it my way, it was a little bit, you know what I mean? It was a little bit better.
Well, you know, also on that end, that's a tactic. They get people so riled up and angry where they're not thinking straight and they go to pay it. You know, it was just like a tactic. But I don't think they understood our culture on that end because
No,
we ain't paying that.
nah, you ain't get paid. We got cussed out. That's what we got.
Yeah, you got paid something, right?
Yeah.
You know, be
Yeah.
thankful and
Usually, if
move
we
on.
used empathy and found out what the real reason was, it wasn't paying. I got better results than trying to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't know. I think it's still difficult for. I think even I laugh at a company I worked for because you look on their webpage and you see they have a diversity council and you look at the picture and it's all white guys. It's like this is okay. This is what diversity is for you.
And you know what's crazy is that a lot of people now are making their decisions based on the executives of the company. Like, so I'll share this because it's not a secret anymore. Um, I am on hiatus from the company that I just left. I turned in my resignation Monday, and with me turning in my resignation, I am now a consult for them. So they're paying me um, the same amount to consult, and I start with a new company really, really soon. A very, very good company. What put me in that position was I started to look at the company executives, and none of them looked like me. I started to look at who was the highest ranking African American, and uh, it was the person I reported to. Then I looked at the highest ranking uh, black male, and it was me. And I was like, "This is high as we get." Like, is because I was like confused. Like, is there anyone else that did not like reach a certain level or echelon that they could not succeed, to become successful within this company and these walls? And like Isaac, I'm not political. I don't play the political role. We're not gonna go golfing. We could probably go to Top Golf and go hang out to eat, but I'm just doing it because I want to hang out and I want to eat. I like food. I'm a food lover. But other than that, I don't play the political role. And I think my value started to change with them. I was still doing the same thing, but my value started to change with them because I'm not political. And so when God, opens one door, um, I walked in, and Isaac and I have a little deal that we do, and I think I'm gonna reach it before he do this year. But it's just one of the qualms of the things. It's like being black, and I think this is my last saying since we're gonna go ahead and start ending the show. Being black in corporate America, whether you're white or Hispanic or any other race, um, being black in corporate America is difficult. I think it's a lot more difficult for us than others because of nepotism. It exists strong. There's the Good Old Boy Network. There's the Hispanic Network, which is becoming strong. But I think it starts with us as a black owners. As a matter of fact, we're all owners and entrepreneurs. Like we work in corporate America, but then we also have our own businesses. I think once we realize that we are not in competition with each other and that we can be that hand to bring others up, then you'll see more of us um, buying the business instead of moving up in the business. And the black brand, African America's, the black brand is $1 trillion brand. It is the most valuable brand in the world. And just being black in corporate America, from my eyes, I want to see more of us in those positions of influence. And that's my take.
All right. And while we're at it, we'll go ahead get the closing takes. Like I said, we always end the episode, with not just talking about the problem, but actually putting out some solutions and stuff to help. Leo, you ready? You got yours?
Yeah, I can go ahead. I think I take parts from what y'all saying, and also knowing the way the economy and everything is the way it's in right now. I think we've already shown and already said that some of the things are changing. Code switching, you don't really have the newer generation. It's looking like they won't have to do it, so don't have to dwell on that. So I think some of the things is the political, maybe teaching our kids some of the political things and stuff like that. Because is that something that's holding us back? But I don't know with the way the new generation flows and the way they go, they might not, along with the code switching, they might drop the political thing too. It's like I don't have to play golf with you, dude. We don't play golf. We play video games. You know what I mean? So things might flip. But the thing I can say for right now is in this temperature and this climate, be yourself, but also find a way to express to people who you are and this is just you and letting them feel comfortable with you being you. This is my culture, this is me, this is my name. You're not going to blow me off. You're going to learn this and you're going to accept, you don't have to accept it, but you can't, you're not going to stop this and what it is. So be yourself.
Yeah. I would say to help corporate America needs to, like I said earlier, needs to put people of diversity inside these positions that are hiring people, HR department, supervisors, everything. You have to find a way to get rid of that good old boy system, right? It should not be friends bringing friends up behind them. You should be putting the best candidate up there in a position. I think us as a people, if we don't start to see the change, then we got to create the change, and then you can't forget about where you come from once you get up in that position. Because I see that a lot too. You get in that position, don't forget, hey, you might have to help somebody move up, or you might have to help that person above you move further to make things better.
But are we doing similar to what our counterparts are doing when we do that? Like help the person that's the best fit, and not just the black people.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Help the person that's the best fit. But you know what I'm saying, if it's a black person, it happen to be a black person, don't hold them back trying to, you know what I mean? Because it comes a competition. If a black person is ahead of you, like, oh no, I need to be the number one black person. I got to get ahead of them instead of trying to, get ahead of them, push them up a little bit further if you have to do what you do to help each other out. Or basically, man, if nothing's changing, then we have to own it. We own it. Hey, you know what I mean? Start your company. Hey, if it's buses you're doing, hey, start your own bus line there. If you're tired of working for them, they're not changing, whatever. Figure out a way to start your own company, be an owner, and then, culturally, we can fit in anywhere if we be the owner. Uh, young people, and then KD, I'll let you have it there. Just the young people understanding, uh, getting yourselves recognize diversity now. I think at whatever age it is right now, don't click up necessarily with just the people who look like you or whatever. Learn to, getting to different settings and understand how to listen and understand other cultures, and don't just feel comfortable with your culture. Make sure you can go in any room and feel comfortable in that culture. That's going to get you a lot further than if you're only used to being around black folk or Christian folk or whatever it may be at. Learn to listen and learn to, not necessarily that you have to agree with everybody, but learn to not agree with somebody, but still understand and be cool. I think that'll get you a lot further in life than if you're only used to being in one setting. And I got a whole bunch more I can give out, but go ahead, KD. What you got?
No, I was agreeing with you. Crabs in the bucket.
Yeah.
You were saying the black on black thing, and this person wanted to be the highest ranking black person. And that exists in a lot of different cultures. I would say, and I think this generation that's evolving is probably the most diverse and the most accepting. Because you'll see, like, Jalen and Jaleel, they got Hispanic, Asian, all kinds of different friends. And then you also look like you like Jared. Jared, I don't even think he had a black friend. All his friends were, Asian and things like that. And that's just how we grew up. Like, we had probably one of the most diverse circles in 30, in on Magnolia. We were, because of the school we went to, and this just who we were. We navigated to nice, humble people. Um, but yeah, just being black in corporate America, um, you have to remove the blinders and just accept people for who they are, um, and then learn them and why they are the way they are.
Yeah, real quick too, man. I really wish we could have talked about it a little bit more, but we talked to some young men, and we are talking about how the young men wear their hair, and a lot of them didn't understand that there's some corporations that will not hire you just because how you look, and either some for safety reasons, some companies won't let you wear that style of hair, and a lot of their ideas was, this is who I am. I'm not cutting it. So real quick, we'll make this real quick there. What are y'all thoughts on that? Should they have to change who they
Their
are?
hair,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This was the talk. A lot of the young men, you know how they wear the
the locks.
locks. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I've had locks, and I'm a safety engineer, and so um, there are ways that a person can has locks and keep them from being entangled to any moving machinery or anything like that. So if a person says that they have to um, do something to their hair or cut it, then that's actually targeting. And actually, OSHA, you can call whistleblowers. You can go to OSHA.gov, um, and there's a website, a link you can go to talk about that. You can talk to the EEOC and talk about you being targeted and things like that. Just so many other different avenues. Because a lot of times some people do grow their hair because it's faith based or religion based.
I agree with KD. And then also I think you're gonna notice too, most of the time those places where if they do say something like that and it actually is a safety, most time the safety gonna be like to a certain length or something like that. You know what I mean? But like KD said too, most of the time it's gonna be okay. You gotta wrap your hair up or something like that, or wear it under this helmet thing so that
Yeah, tie it
that
up.
safety issue won't happen. So
What
no,
about even in like corporate, like a lot of corporate, like the suit and tie corporate, a lot of them will tell you exactly how you have to wear short hair or whatever. They're almost
yeah, like I think that's right now for our generation and that older generation that's up there at the exec level and stuff like that. But as the younger ones are moving in, that's that's fading out.
Yeah.
Whatever. And also, a lot of the younger generation too are doing just like y'all said, they just like, if I can't wear it the way I want to, then I'm gonna make my own company and we're gonna
Mhm.
do it our way. You know.
And
I, I,
also,
I was I was careful. Like this is the advice I give them, and I try to be real with them. Like, okay, this guy's offering you $100,000 until you have to wear your hair this way, and right now you're making $9 an hour. You're going to tell me you're not going to take that money. You're going to keep on that $9 out just because of your hair. So I tell them, I said, go ahead, cut your hair. It'll grow back. But you get that position, you work hard, get that position and change the rule or force them to change the rule. You know what I mean? When you get inside the company, you know, it's, I don't know. For me, it's like, depending on your
Mhm.
situation, it's like, it's cool to fight, but you got to know which battles to pick and when to pick them. For me, it's like, hey, I got 4 kids. I can't say, I can't say,
So
no, I don't want this position. You know what I mean? I'm gonna,
Mhm.
okay, I got to do this. Okay, I'm gonna do this for now, but I'm gonna come back later at you and I'm gonna change the rule myself. You know what I mean? Once
so
I get,
I'm
go
gonna ask
ahead.
you this: does your hair length change your performance?
It don't.
Okay, so here's my take on hair. I've had locks. The reason I cut my locks because when I had locks, I was gaining the attention of a lot of females, and I was very promiscuous. And um, the conversation that God and I had was um, for me to do some things in my life that's conducive to me not contributing to sin. So I cut my hair, and I devoted that to God. Like I made that step, and a lot of I was still getting the attention, but not the attention that I was always getting. But for those people that have locks, all right. So if you got to wear a hard hat, there's a way that you can do your hair that it doesn't mess up the hard hat and the integrity of it hitting your head. If you're getting a roll, this is just me. You'll share with them that I share with anybody that's having locks. If it's faith based, and that's the reason why you have your hair, because some Muslims or some faith based religions
The
don't allow you to cut your hair and everything like that.
Rasta.
Yeah. So if it's faith based, they're not going to change who they are because of, especially a white man wants them to do something, and it's not even you're selling out. That's the way they look at it. Stay true to yourself. I mean, that's one thing that I've gotten from this conversation is staying true to yourself. And so many people in corporate America know Ken. Um, I don't even mind if they call me KD. It's guys that I've called JD and JB and everything like that, white guys. Um, stay true to who you are. That if they offer you that $100,000 and they want you to cut your hair, that's the question you ask. Is my hair contributing to my performances? Why you want me to cut it? Share with me why. EEOC protects those rights. And so if they get an offer letter and then they ask that, they're protected by EEOC anywhere they go in the United States of America or its other subsidiaries, other parts of the United States, outlying islands and whatnot. They're protected by the EEOC to be gainfully employed against restrictions that involve their color, creed, ethnicity, race, faith, religion, or anything like that. I wouldn't cut my hair. If you're gonna offer me $100,000 and the only way that I can get is to cut my hair, then you're dictating who I am.
All right, cool. We'll talk a little bit more about this offline there.
I seen you phased out a little bit. You was like, okay.
Nah. Well, I was thinking too, because some jobs you have to shave. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the shaving and stuff here. I'll fly that. Thank you all again for joining us tonight. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Go back and watch some of our old videos, man, and we'll catch you next week. Yo, y'all have a good weekend. We'll see you next time.
3200, but you already know this. You know it. Couple of brothers hard working and focused. Let's go. Intellectual, entertaining for show. 32 double O.